We're going to start with the breaking news, and that is that the Washington Commodores have traded for Carson Wentz from the Indianapolis Colts. Yep. The co-managers have switched second-round picks.
Popular beat pop combo.
This year, yep. So they've moved up 5 spots, and then they've given up their third-round pick this year and a third-round pick next year, which could become a second-round pick if Carson Wentz plays 70% of the snaps for Washington. Very similar deal to what the Colts gave to the Eagles when they traded for him just a year ago. Boys, initial thoughts about this move? Because it sounds like the Washington Commanders went through every single team in the league and every league to
they did
what the availability was like.
They did literally. I think this is a big move for the Colts in the fact that they've got someone taking on the entire cap hit. Carson Wentz. It now leaves them with almost 70 million worth of cap hit, so expect them to be extremely busy when it comes to free agency. They need left tackle because they've confirmed Eric Fisher's not coming back. Everyone who they need to is pretty much signed, but they need a quarterback, so go and get someone. I think it's down to 2 candidates really, of Jimmy G and possibly Marcus Mariota. Now, neither of those two are going to command enormous figures. So even if they, you pay them 20 million, you're still left with 50 million quid in free agency. So, and that will put them third in the list over everyone in the NFL. So they can still afford to be extremely busy and pack out with talent. So yeah, good move for the Colts.
So I feel sorry about Fisher.
Taylor Heineken.
Sorry?
I do. I feel sorry for Taylor Heineke. I don't think he's done that much wrong. What's he done wrong? He's played perfectly well at the Commanders for the last couple of seasons. He's now getting shoved into the Gardner Minshew level quarterback. You're not going to sit there and tell me that you don't think Taylor Heineke's been at least as good a quarterback as Carson Wentz over the last 2 seasons.
Question:
Absolutely not.
Have you seen Taylor Heineke play recently?
Yes.
Have you seen Carson Wentz play recently?
Yes.
But what the hell makes you think that Taylor Heineke is not going to be the starter next year? Just saying. There's going to be
because you're not going to take a 20 million cap hit on a QB that's literally just played 1 season of a contract if he's not coming in as a starter.
You might be right in week 1.
And if you're Carson Wentz, you want guarantees before you even go
week 5, maybe even week 5. But when he's got 2 sprained ankles after week 6 and he's throwing interceptions as he's going to the ground and not checking out runs, you never know what's going to happen.
I still think it's harsh on him. I still think it's harsh.
I mean, of all the injustices that's happened with everything in the NFL, this isn't probably the worst. So I'm not.
No, that's true.
He'll be fine. He'll be fine. Don't worry.
I think he's done enough that he'll be able to at least shop himself. He's better than a Trubisky or a Mariota, as far as I'm concerned.
Whatever's happened in his career so far, he's done enough to build himself a 10-year career as a backup. Worst case scenario.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah, he'll be absolutely fine. And absence makes the heart grow fonder. I mean, look, everyone's talking about Mariota now as being a genuine starter. He's not a genuine starter. We've seen it 100 times previously. People leave the league or are no longer playing, and their hype grows. I mean, people talking about Trubisky. I mean, come on, we all.
Joe Flacco's getting some.
This is it.
Column inches.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder and the pockets grow wider. He will be fine. Don't worry about it.
It's also off season, and there's only 32 starters, so
yes,
all those journalists have got to fill those column inches with something.
Yeah,
even if it's completely made up random stuff.
So what do the Colts do now? Because obviously Jim Irsay was saying as soon as their season ended abruptly in week 18 that he wasn't happy and he was going to make improvements. And obviously, the guy they just traded for a year ago was the first one out the door. So they're going to have their 6th starter on week 1 in the last 6 years.
So this Friday coming up, the Deshaun Watson is going to a grand jury basically to find out whether or not any criminal action is going to be taken against him. If the answer is no, then he comes on the open market, and there's several needy teams who will be able to put their hat in the ring for him. So are they in that conversation? Absolutely. So are a lot of other teams, Seahawks, Steelers, etc. However, that's an if, and you can't trade your current starting quarterback on an if. So they have to have a plan at the moment. As I've mentioned, Jimmy G kind of feels like, the guy who can just manage a game and not lose in week 18 to the Jags, put you out of the playoffs. He kind of feels like that naturally.
He hasn't done that. You're right.
Am I being dumb, or does that kind of feel like what?
Jimmy G does feel like a nice, safe pair of hands for the Colts to have in there. The question is, do they want a nice, safe pair of hands, or do they actually want a quarterback that can win them games? Because Jimmy G won't. Jimmy G will be fine, but he won't win you games. So it depends on what they want to go and spend their $70 million of cap on. Are they going to go out and get? Because there's no guarantee T.Y. Hilton's coming back. That receiving core was not great last year. They need some help on offense.
The offense runs through Jonathan Taylor, so Jimmy G's used to handing it off.
The receiving core was as good as I think the quarterback's play would allow them to look. Zach Pascal's on a free at the moment. T.Y. Hilton's future is questionable. I'm not sure if he's out of contract though. But I know.
No, he's just old and
I think he is out of contract. I think he's on about $8 million. He's looking for if you're going to retain him, but he is 32.
And there's talk of Jack Doyle retiring as well.
He has retired. Mo Ali Cox is out of contract as well. The other tight end. So they've got space to fill that receiving core. I mean, if you're a quarterback and if you're a quarterback and I'm coming to you and saying, okay, we've got shed loads of cap space, come and play for us and pick your receivers. If there's any guys out there you want, name them, we'll go and get them. Nothing wrong with that. So the lack of receivers doesn't concern me all too much. I think one of the reasons we're probably so attracted by Jimmy G is the fact that we've gone from being, say, we as on part of the Colts, the Colts have gone from having someone who's uber high risk. The option now is to go the other way and kind of be a bit too safe, maybe, when in fact you want somewhere kind of in the middle. I don't know what the happy medium is, but I feel like it's not Marcus Mariota or Mitchell Trubisky. So on that basis of who's available, if Deshaun Watson's not available, I'd kind of pivot and go with Jimmy G because he's the best available. And the other problem with Deshaun Watson is that even if he is cleared, there's nothing stopping the NFL from putting him on the exempt list after you've traded for him. So you'll need some guarantees from the league that if you go and give up a load of first-round picks for him, that he's actually going to pay for you.
The first thing Chris Ballard would do would be get on the phone and say, look, what's going to happen if we trade for him? So if any trades do happen, I'm not too worried about that. But then there's other factors. Is Kyler Murray really going to be staying in Arizona? I didn't think for a single second that Russell Wilson would be leaving Seattle. I genuinely didn't. I think I said that to you several times, Jim. I don't think he'll leave. Mm-hmm. What do I know? Turns out I'm an idiot. Who knew, right?
Well, we knew that. But, Okay, so how about the Commanders then? So we talked about the Colts, and they'll probably go for someone like Jimmy. They need to have someone at least as big a name as Carson Wentz, and they should be aiming for bigger. Quite what that means now that the two elite QBs are off the board in terms of Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. I don't know. Jimmy G seems to be the kind of, you can sell him as a Super Bowl playing QB over the last couple of years. He's got a winning record. He doesn't throw as many interceptions as Carson Wentz. Although Carson Wentz only threw 7 interceptions last year, he basically carbon copied his 2019 season with the Eagles. So I think this is a little bit bad on Frank Reich. I mean, he was the offensive coordinator in Philly when Carson was at his peak, air quotes, and he lobbied as well. He said last week at the Combine, he kind of let slip that he lobbied for Carson Wentz to come to Indy. And now in one season, he hasn't been able to get that kind of gunslinger, big play highlight mentality out of Carson Wentz. And although he's only throwing 7 interceptions, they were killer interceptions.
Yeah, but to be fair to Wentz also, it's kind of difficult to be the gunslinging good quarterback when you're permanently injured. There are games that he was playing that he just shouldn't have been playing in. So, I think it is a bit harsh to kind of chase him out of Indy after one season. But on the flip side, it's a business. At the end of the day, the teams are going to do what's best for the teams, or what they think is best for the teams. Now, if that turns into Jimmy G, in Indianapolis with a new set of receivers, then great. The Eagles are going to love the fact that they get to hit Wentz twice a season.
Absolutely.
There's going to be some big smiles on that Philly defense. That's for certain.
So how about the Commanders then? Let's talk about them, because they haven't given up too much to get him. really it's a switch of a second. So it's 5 spots they've moved down in the second round this year, given up their third rounder, and then next year they've given up the third, potentially a second. So it's mostly the money that they've given to get him.
Yeah.
So I think it's a fairly decent move. They've certainly, I think they've upgraded from Taylor Heineke. I like Taylor Heineke, but I think that you're more likely to win the game with Carson Wentz.
I think I'm going to go back to what I said probably this time last year, roughly, and it'll almost be a carbon copy. Calm him down and get him to realise that not every play is 4th and long at the end of the Super Bowl, and he doesn't need to make a play. And do you know what? It's okay to punt. Punting's fine. That's okay. We're fine. You do that, and you'll be in a much. You do that, and you'll be in a much better position with him.
I'm not sure if they're going to do that to him though. He's what, 5 years into his career, and Frank Reich couldn't do it, and he knew him since he came into the league. And you've got Ron Rivera, who's a defensive coordinator by trade. Is he going to know how to kind of QB whisper to Carson Wentz? He couldn't do it to Cam Newton.
Okay, but that's where you get a coordinator or a coach or someone who's going to work with him, QB coach, and just say, look, you coach this guy. You get him away to find out to make him play. And we've all seen it. We've all seen Last Chance U on Netflix. When people know it's their last chance, and this potentially is his last chance, it changes your mentality. It changes the way that you prepare and the way that you do things. And I think that can have an actual impact. But when I think you're probably more correct than I am, and when push comes to shove and you're in the game zone and you've got 60,000 people shouting your name and everyone's going a bit nuts and you're in the moment, what do you do?
The other thing the other thing I'd look at that might actually start calming him down is all these injuries. He might not want to calm down, but he might have to. So you never know. You know what I mean? Actually being injured and not being able to move as freely and just be carefree about these things might actually help him become a better quarterback. Who knows?
I mean, dude's 29. Let's not go nuts. He's still 29 years old.
Yeah.
He's not even 30 yet.
He's got plenty of time. We really have kind of moved into this, play them now, and if they don't work out in 3 years, then they're busts. It's massive boom or bust now. And whereas, I think we've all said previously, we used to like quarterbacks to sit for a season, learn systems, et cetera, before coming in. Now it's, if you haven't made the playoffs within 3 years, you're dead and buried almost. So, I think for Washington, I think for McLaurin and that, it's probably a good deal because we know Wentz can chuck it long and he's an exciting quarterback. But, it's can they keep him upright? Can they keep him injury-free? And can he sort his head out?
There's a lot of ifs there. The good news for Carson Wentz is he won't have to play in front of 60,000 because they don't get 60,000 at a Washington game. So, wish him all the best.
Collapses most of the time, isn't it? So
that too. Yes. Let's move on. Let's move on and talk about